Hey, good evening, everybody. I know it's late. Well, it's late on the East Coast, 9:22, but I've just come from a facilitation session that I did for our local chamber group and a few guests of the fitness place that I go to, and it was on disc and it was on uh, understanding communication styles. And one of the things that I mean, it's a great session. That's not what's going, but it's just got me thinking about engagement again, right? And employee engagement and how this is affecting people's lives every day. And so I wanted to just come and talk about it just briefly. Um, hey, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Um, so again, feel free to put comments in. All right, as you find them, or find them as you think about them. Feel free to click the comments in there and just let me know what you're thinking. And if you've got any questions, feel free to ask the questions. Okay, so I've sort of referenced recently a Gallup poll that talks about how over 70% of Americans are disengaged in their work. And actually, it shows that I think it's 19% are actively disengaged in their work. And that's a real sad um, a real sad statement of affairs in my opinion. And I looked at some more research, and there was some more research that was done by the University of California, and this showed that motivated employees are 31% more productive than unmotivated employees. They have 37% higher sales than demotivated employees. They are 3 times more creative, and they're 87% less likely to quit. So there's two things that come to mind with this. One is why do organizations let this go on? Right? It must be costing them millions. Millions of dollars. Even a small company, it's costing them probably tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it just doesn't make sense. But then I started looking at it further, and the Gallup poll also shows that 70% of an employee's motivation is influenced by their manager or their leader. Right? So the employees are, on the face of it, are the ones that are showing the disengagement or the demotivation. But where is that coming from? Well, that's being influenced by the managers. So actually, Nilifor, I think I'm saying your name right, Nilifor. Hey, David, thanks for joining too. So as a HR manager, and I see this because there's something missing, which is a common ground. Exactly. All right. Exactly. And so here's the thing with it, right? Is that why does this happen? And one of the things that I want to get to teach in organizations is all about how to develop a culture and a culture of empowerment that creates a legacy of leadership excellence. But I also want to talk to you guys because I think some of the onus has to come on us as the workers, the employees as well, right? And now, in my working time and my life, when I realised that I was disengaged in or becoming disengaged in my job, I knew I had to do something about it. Sometimes it's so difficult to change the bureaucracy and the wheels there that you have to do something about it yourself, but many people don't. And so I started to look at why is it that these employees are demotivated. What is it that the leaders are doing or not doing that creates this this feeling, this disengagement? And one of the things is a lack of recognition. And I think too many people seem to think that recognition has to mean grand gestures and a lot of money, and it really doesn't. In my experience, actually just saying to somebody, thanks for doing a great job today. I appreciate you staying 5 minutes later or coming in 5 minutes early, or I appreciate you going that extra mile today. that means far more than giving them a small bonus, right, or a movie ticket or whatever. Another big thing is definitely hiring and promoting the wrong people. You know, I wrote an article recently about hire for attitude and train for aptitude, and it's such a valuable concept, but for whatever reason, organisations are reluctant to do it. And I think as Niloufar just says, and let me just put that up there because it's a great point. The managers need training. All right, there is a gap that needs to be fixed and have everyone row in the same direction as managerial goals, and it's exactly right. And I'm a big proponent that the problem, or one of the challenges, is we put people into positional leadership, but we don't train them how to actually be leaders. Right? We give them a title, or we put them maybe through an induction course, and then say, "There you go, get on with it." That doesn't make you a leader. And sometimes we can promote people because we think they're the top performer. Well, that doesn't mean that they're going to be the best leader. All right? Very often the top performers are top performers because they're selfish. Right? That's not going to make a good leader. And this one could be a little bit controversial, right? But hear me out on it. One of the other challenges is that we are have a tendency to treat everybody equally. All right, now, whoa, don't jump on me like that. I'm not saying that we should be biased or go any way in terms of inequality. But what I mean by that is that we treat people equally regardless of their performance. Right, now, this is one of the things that, again, I've written about and spoken about before in terms of participation awards at school. Right, if we give everybody an award just for turning up, where's the incentive for somebody to actually do better, right, and to do their best? And that's the same at work. If we treat everybody the same, where's the incentive for the top performers to continue to perform at that high level? Right? If they don't, then what happens is the average actually drops because everybody drops and accepts that mediocrity, and the leaders will accentuate that by not doing anything about it. Let me just put some of these comments on here quickly so I can see them. So Niloufar, a raise only keeps the employee happy for 16 days. Correct. The environment is what makes or break their career. You are so correct. And David agrees, and Niloufar agrees again. So it's true, all right? And we tolerate, and I say we because I'll talk about this is a widespread problem, all right? And people, leaders, or more as we'll see Jay's watching. So this relates more to the bosses, right? The bully on supervisory status that Jay talks about. They'll tolerate poor performance. And I think one of the problems is that there's become sort of a fear of retribution, all right? A fear that if we call somebody out for poor performance, they could go to human resources or go to the union or whatever, and as a leader or a manager, we're going to be called out as singling them out for unfair treatment. Well, listen, if somebody's not performing at the job they're being paid to do, they deserve to be pulled up for it. All right? They deserve to be pulled up for it. This is not something that should be tolerated. All right? As Niloufar says, this is why I want to coach to help the management of companies. Exactly, Niloufar. That's what I'm trying to do as well. All right? Here's the challenge: is that the companies don't want to hear it. Right? The companies don't want to hear that they've got challenges. And this is one of the reasons why this came about to me tonight, is that one of the ladies that was at this session that I facilitated tonight is a retired military, now working for Disney. And she told me about some situations within her division of Disney where the leaders are displaying exactly these attributes. And this was one of the reasons why I left Disney, because I wanted to make a difference, right? And it's not being allowed. And Disney is a great company. They produce some amazing products. But there is a lack of leadership training. And Disney's not the only company. There are lots of these companies out there. So, you know, it's also my mission as well, Nilofer, to go and train these as well. One of the other things that is a cause of this is leaders and managers going back on their commitments. You know, I used to call it moving the goalposts, right? So say, yeah, guys, if we do this, let's do this, and we're going to get X. Right, but we get X and it's like, oh, well, we didn't quite reach what we did, so we're not going to give you that now. Right, or whatever the goal, it's just changing, going back on promises, going back on commitments. And then the last point of why this is the case is bosses not caring. Right? They don't care for their people, they care for themselves. And I see this a lot. I saw it a lot, and I continue to see it a lot. It's the you know, we talk about it in the John Maxwell team circles, and John Maxwell talks about it as the law of the lid. The leaders will put a lid on their employees. They don't want them to rise to be the best version of themselves, because the leaders are more interested in getting their bonuses and keeping their jobs. All right, harsh, maybe fair, maybe unfair, but true. I challenge anybody to show me that this is not the case. All right? And I know I'm getting a bit on a high horse tonight, and intentionally so, because it really got me riled up that this goes on in corporate America, but it's corporate all over the world, and it needs to change. As Nilofer says, companies need to understand how much money is wasted with the constant churn. Exactly. Right? It's said that when an employee leaves, it costs that company somewhere between 90 and 200% of that employee's annual salary to replace them. Right? Why does it cost that much? Well, there's recruitment and interviewing, but then there's also the retraining, and then there's the lost productivity when one employee's left while they're waiting for the other one to come in, and then when they're waiting to get them up to speed. Right? That is such a waste of money. And it's so much better to invest in your people now and keep the people, right? I think it was Richard Branson says, you know, it's better to train your people and have them leave than don't train them and have them stay, right? But that's what happens in corporate America at the moment. There is no investment or little investment being made in training the people, and therefore we're resulting in this 70% of disengaged and all of these lower productivities. Let me have a quick look at the comments. So Nilofer says, leadership is not the title, is how you lift your staff. So yeah, leadership, you know, you can have leader in your title, it doesn't make you a leader. Jay, too many companies want to invest in more products and other building, etc., but fail to invest in leadership training. It's true. What people look at, or what companies are looking at, is they're looking at the cost of the training instead of looking at the cost of not training. All right, so the cost of training, yes, there is a cost in training. There's a cost in hiring good quality coaches like myself and Nilofer and Jay and Katrina. Sorry, Katrina, that was you that said that, not Jay. Because you got the picture of Jay in the thing there, that made me see that. There is a cost of not training. That cost of not training is far greater than the investment. Let's call it an investment in training. All right? That needs to be seen as an investment. It's not a cost. The cost is by not investing. So what are the solutions? I thought I heard you asking what are the solutions, so let me tell you. The first one I believe in as a solution is to use the platinum rule. All right, now the platinum rule, not the golden rule. The golden rule is great. All right, the golden rule is treat everybody as you would want to be treated yourself. The platinum rule is treat everybody like they would want to be treated. All right, so why is that more important than the golden rule? Well, the reason being, Katrina, we're one and the same. Yes, I know you are. You joined at the hip, and we love you for that. But the reason the platinum rule is better than the golden rule is because just because I want to be treated in a particular way doesn't mean that Katrina or Nilofer or David want to be treated in that same way. But we need to treat people as the individuals that they are, not who we are. That's something that is really, really important. And then the second one is to be strong but fair. Right, so you've got to be firm in what you're doing, but you've got to be fair in treating people the way that they should be treated. But there has to be those rules. All right, but also don't stick rigidly to the rules. If you find out that the rule is broken, change it. Don't hide behind it. Don't hide behind it as a leader and say, well, I really would want to do that, but hey, listen, that's the way it is. The company set the rules, so I have to follow it. I'm calling BS on that one. All right, you need to be strong and fair, and you need to look for things to move forward. The third is to improve communication. All right, now, myself and many of the others watching are certified in DISC and communication, and the class that I facilitated tonight was all about that. And again, what we got to realize when we're talking about communication, we're not talking about changing ourselves. We're talking about adapting the style that we use with individuals so that they decode the message that we've encoded in the way that we intended it to be sent. If that makes sense. So if I'm let me put it in an easy way, right? I obviously speak English, but if I have a Spanish speaking employee or client, right, that I'm dealing with, and they don't speak English, but I just insist on speaking English, it's unlikely that they are going to understand exactly what I'm saying. Right? It's unlikely they're going to decode my message correctly if they don't speak English and I don't speak Spanish. So what I need to do is I need to find a way of translating that into Spanish to send it to them in Spanish so they get it in the right way. They send it back to me, I decode it back into English, and then we're on the same page. Communicating is exactly that. Right? It's talking the language of other people. The other thing that leaders need to do to solve this is to walk the walk and talk the talk. In other words, be a role model. Now, here is the thing: people do what people see. All right. So if you are if you're saying one thing, right? So if you're talking with forked tongue, you're saying one thing but you do another, but no credibility. All right. If you ask somebody to do something, you should be prepared to do it yourself, and you should demonstrate that. If you're not, don't ask them to do it, because that's not fair. A leader also needs to be transparent. All right. So as a leader being transparent, that means that you're open. All right? If you've got an open door policy, make sure your door is open. And if somebody comes to it and wants to talk to you, you stop what you're doing, you take the time and you talk to them. If you don't, you haven't got an open door policy. All right, you're talking one thing, you're doing another. But transparency, again, is about helping your team understand what it is that needs doing and why it needs doing. Right, so it all comes back to the why. That's my my other big thing at the moment is that why. You need to be transparent. Right, you need to say we're doing this, and this is the reason why we're doing it. And hey, guys, if you've got a different an idea, a suggestion for helping us to achieve it, tell me. All right, empower the team to do that. We create that culture of empowerment. We will develop a legacy of leadership excellence, and that's what you want, because all of the team and all of us are leaders. Whether we're leaders in our title or not, we influence people. We are leaders. All right, so step up to the plate and do that. A leader also needs to be humble, right? Because it's not about me, it's about we. All right, people, there is no I in team. People will say, yes, but there's a me. Not if you spell it correctly, there's not. And as a leader, the leader's success is not measured on what they do. The leader's success is measured on what their team does. All right, so let me ask you this. Would you rather be a great leader of an average team or an average leader of a great team? Which is the better? Now, a leader that's all about me would say, me being a great leader. Well, let me tell you something. If you're a great leader and you've got an average team, you're not a great leader. Right? As John Maxwell says, if you're a leader and you've got nobody following you, you're just going for a walk. Right? So be humble. All right? Siri's talking to me. The most humble servant leader that I know is Mark Cole.
What would you like to send?
All right? And Mark Cole is a phenomenal servant leader. And he is so humble, it's untrue. Got an awful lot of respect for that man, and I think any John Maxwell team members that are watching will agree with me on that. So be humble. And then the final thing, and I'll sort of call it a night because it's getting on. And David, thank you for saying great topic this evening. You can tell I'm passionate about it. It was just something tonight that just triggered this, and I wasn't planning to come live, but I was like, hey, I need to go and share this with people. The final thing, and again, it's something that is so vital, is that a leader needs to show true, genuine care for their team. Remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Okay? It doesn't matter if you are the smartest person in the room, if you know every single thing. If you don't show care, compassion, and concern for your team, I guarantee they will not perform for you. And that's what these stats show. Now, do you want your team to be 31% more productive? Do you want your team to increase their sales by 37%? Do you want your team to be 3 times more creative? And do you want your team to be 87% less likely to quit? If you don't say yes to any of those, then you don't deserve to be a leader or a business owner, all right? But if you will say yes to that, well, the easiest way to do it is to get your employees engaged. And to get them engaged, you follow those 7 rules. So let me just go back through the topics. So questions. Nilifor, great idea. You made me connect with people who believe and are passionate about the same thing as I am. Perfect. That makes me worthwhile. As say, Eric, model what you seek. Absolutely. All right, you've got to be the person you want to become. You've got to treat your team in the way that you want them to behave. All right, so let me look at that. Let's say you take over a team that's underperforming. Don't treat them like underperformers. You coach that underperformance. Yes, I've said that. You coach that underperformance, but you treat them with respect. You treat them with care. You treat them with transparency, and you be humble. And you show them the way that they can achieve. So you treat them in the way that you want them to be. David was, I don't ask anyone of anything of anyone I haven't or won't do. Perfect. That's exactly as it should be. Nilifor, again and earlier, you need to constantly be analysing our companies to close the gaps that are keeping us from achieving our company goals. Yeah. Listen, there are any time a company is not performing or an individual is not performing, there's a gap. Right? It could be a knowledge gap, it could be an understanding gap, it could be an action gap, it could be an ability gap, but there's a gap. And we need to bridge those gaps. We need to find a way of saying, okay, how can we get you from where you are to where you want to be? Right? And that may be putting you in a different role, because it may be that your skill level is not suited to the role that you're in, but it is to another role. Well, we need to highlight that, and we need to move people into those roles. It comes from listening. It comes from understanding. It comes from looking at the bigger picture and being creative and knowing what you want as an organization, knowing what you want as an individual and why you want it, and then doing something about it. All right, because if you know something but you don't do anything with it, it's useless. All right, so Nilifor, human capital is the most important investment in a company. Perfect. Listen, the people are the lifeblood, the heartbeat of every company. Fact. Again, I would debate that, argue that, whatever with anybody, because here's the thing. If you take the people out of the company, what's left? Building. Right? A building is not going to produce results. The people are what produce results. So the people are what we need to work with. The people are who we need to treat like gold. The people are the ones that communicate with your customers, and the customers, believe it or not, are the ones that pay the bills, right? And they buy the products, so they're the ones that raise the profit. So stop looking at the results. Start looking at the behaviors. And the behaviors is the people. And it starts with the leaders. Because if the leaders are at a certain level, the employee cannot get above that level. And then the customer engagement and customer satisfaction cannot get above that level. So your business results are going to be average at best. If you raise the leadership level, the employee engagement goes up, the customer satisfaction goes up, and hey, guess what? The business results go through the roof. That's how you sustain profit. So in closing, what I want to say, again, if you're a business owner, self-employed or whatever, or a manager, this relates to you. If you're an employee, it also relates to you, right? Because some of the onus is on you. Your leader, your manager, your boss, they can show you, but you have to be the one that steps up to the plate and takes charge, right? You can take charge of your life. So you should invest in your life, right? Invest in your future. Now, yes, that may cost you a little bit of money and time now. Well, so what? Do you want to get to where you want to get to, or do you want to stay where you are? Do you want to rise to the greater expectations of your inner self, or do you want to settle for the average limitations that are being imposed on you by other people? I suggest that if you've watched this and you watched all the 27 minutes, it's the former, right? You want to rise to the greater expectations of your inner self. If you don't, I can't help you. If you do, I'd love to work with you, right? But whether you work with me or somebody else, my greatest wish is that you just work with somebody, right? Invest in yourself, grow yourself, become the best version of yourself, right? Don't live in fear of failure. Live in fear of regret. Because when you're growing and you're stretching, you will fail. I've failed many times. Right, but look at me, I'm still going, I'm growing, I'm getting stronger and stronger, because I don't want to get to the end of my life and say, what if, or if only. You know, it's said that over 90% of people have at least one major regret in life. Don't get any more. You can't go back and change what's gone, but you can start today and you can make a difference in the future. Right, that's how I live my life. That's how I want you to live your life. So again, thank you everybody for commenting, for all the likes, the loves, for all the comments. It's something that it really is passionate for me. It means a lot to me, and I want to help you guys. And David, yes, failures are lessons learned. As long as we, so here's the thing: as long as we do learn from them and change the actions to get different results. If we don't, it's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That's not going to work. And it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up and change to move forward with intention. So that's it for tonight. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me. All right, I am doing a free webinar tomorrow night. So again, if anybody wanted the link to that, hit me up with a personal message or put a comment in there. I'm happy to send you the link to that. That's really talking about why it's discovering your why and why it's important. What's the benefit of a why? The clues for discovering your why and the 4 secrets that can take you from these sort of fears that hold you back into the feelings of excitement and joy that can move you forward. So. Listen, it's been my pleasure. Thank you for watching. Thank you for interacting and allowing me to share this for 30 minutes. I appreciate you all, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now. You have a great evening.